Hello, everyone. Good day to you all. Yes, I hope you're doing a-okay today. Okay, so not only today, but of course every day. Well, let's talk about sentence diagramming. I know you're dying to know on how we do sentence diagramming. Okay, so we'll try to make it as simple as possible. So, um, here we go. We have this one. So I'm sharing to you right now sentences based on simple sentences first. Okay, so let's do it one by one. Okay, so let's start with the simplest, of course, to the most complicated one. Okay, so why am I stammering? That's kind of crazy, but it's okay. So let's go and begin. Okay, so the first thing that you have to know in doing sentence diagramming is, of course, the lining. Okay, so what is this lining? You need to put, of course, the horizontal and the vertical line in doing sentence diagramming. So how do we do that? So let me demonstrate it to you all. So we have here, of course, a line and another line in here. Okay, so now let's see. In here, we will put the subject, and then in here, we'll put the verb. Okay, so as simple as that. So let's put this one in action. Okay, so let's have the diagram of the subject verb, the first sentence, Alvin dances. Okay, so let's erase this one first so that you could see it clearly. Okay, so yes, there we go. Now we said we have to draw this. So the subject is Alvin, and of course, dances is the verb. So bear with my handwriting. It's not that beautiful, but I think it's still legible. Okay, so that's it. That's how simple that is. So we said we put the subject in here and we put the verb in here. Amazing, right? Okay, so that's the first one. That's the sentence or simple sentence for the subject and verb. Now, below, I think you could see that is a different one. We got the subject in here and we got the predicate nominative trend. So this one is a predicate nominative. So what is this nominative in here? So we have Alvin is an excellent teacher. So if we will put this one into a diagram, so how will it look like? Okay, so all you have to do is to draw again our lines. Yes, this one and this one. Okay, so here, we have to start with the subject, and in here, we have to put, of course, the verb. Okay, now, the first thing that you have to look for is the subject. So we got the same subject, Alvin. Then, what's the verb here? The verb is. Okay, so that's the verb. We don't have other verbs in here, whether it's linking verb or an action verb, they are still, of course, verb. Okay, so just have to put the verb in here. All right. So now we got a big problem here. We already got Alvin and is. We got the subject and verb, but how will we be able to put the predicate nominative? So what is the predicate nominative in here? That is the teacher. Why the teacher? Because the teacher here is giving another name for Alvin or the subject. Okay, so when a word is giving another name for a subject, we call this one as predicate nominative. Like this, Alvin is an excellent teacher. A very easy example, the simplest example would be Alvin is a teacher. So teacher. So who is Alvin? A teacher. So we know that the teacher and Alvin are just one. So just giving another name for Alvin. Okay? But how are we going to put that one into a diagram? Okay, so do we have to add here another line? Yes, we will be adding another line in here. And this time, the line will be turn. Okay, let's extend this one so you could see this way much better. Okay, so look at that. It's diagonal, right? So it's a slanting line. Okay, so what do we have to put in here? We will put here the predicate nominative. Okay, so what is the predicate nominative? Like what we said earlier, it was the teacher because the teacher was the one giving another name for the subject. Okay, so teacher. So now we have Alvin is teacher, but it seems like it's incomplete because we have here still the words an and excellent. So where are we going to put this? Okay, so we know that an and excellent are both modifiers. Okay, so they can either modify, of course, a verb or an adjective or another adverb. Okay, but this time, this and excellent are modifying a noun. Does it modify the subject or it modifies our predicate nominative? If it modifies the predicate nominative, then you will put it under here. And look at the line that we will put here. Okay, so we got two lines here since we had the teacher. So an is pertaining to the teacher. So how many teacher could it be? So it's one. So we just use, of course, the article a or an. So where do we put an? So we will put here an. Then how about excellent? Then excellent goes here. All right. That's how we do it. This one modifies teacher and this one also modifies teacher. So every time you got slanting line in here or slanting line in here, it simply means that they are used to modify the noun, can be a subject, a predicate nominative, or later we'll talk about, of course, the object. Okay, so that's it for this one. So don't forget. So just this is a modifier. So modifying, of course, the predicate nominative. Okay, so I hope it's clear. Now we have predicate adjective. So one, let's go now to the subject plus predicate adjective. Okay, so what is predicate adjective? So let's just see. Let's underline it. We got here handsome, while here we got the teacher. Teacher here is still noun, just giving another name for the subject or the object or the noun or another noun. In here, this one is in the form of an adjective. So that's why we call this one predicate adjective. Okay, so it simply means that it talks about or it gives an idea on what kind of a person or what kind of thing the subject could be. Okay, so in this case, Alvin is handsome. Okay, so but this one doesn't really give another name for the subject. It really describes the subject. Okay, so how are we going to put this one then in our diagram? So, or into a diagram. So let's draw line, then another line here. The subject is Alvin again. My gosh, the never dying name, Alvin. Then the verb is. So similarly, we have, or the same thing, we have to use, of course, the diagonal line here, since this one is pertaining to the subject. The predicate adjective is describing the subject. So have to put, of course, here diagonal line. Okay, so another diagonal line there for you. Amazing, right? Okay, so again, diagonal line. Then we put here the word handsome. As simple as that. So, okay, so let's have a recap before we move on to the next one. We get a subject verb in here, so just draw this kind of line or this diagram, always like this. Now, when you already got, of course, some predicate nominative or predicate adjective in here, the only thing that you have to do is to put a diagonal line before the predicate nominative or before the adjective. Okay, so don't forget that. Now let's proceed to the next one. So what could it be? Oh, look at this. So we got the subject, verb, and object. So okay, so let's go. So Alvin, so let's draw our diagram again. So it should be straight line, but it's just that my hands are really crazy, so it doesn't really go straight. Okay, so we got a subject here again. So I hope you don't get tired of my name. What's the verb this time? So the verb this time is like. Carbonara cannot be, of course, a verb because it doesn't make any action or it doesn't state any action. Now, we have here the subject. We got the verb. So we're good. But where's the object? So the object should go down, should go here. Should we put here a diagonal line? No. Okay, so since carbonara doesn't give another name for the subject, it can't be, of course, a diagonal line. And carbonara also here doesn't really describe Alvin, so we that's right. Okay, so what are we going to do now? So we are going to put here line, but a straight line, okay, not diagonal line. Car. So it's carbonara, okay, although the words or the letters are I think running away from one another, carbonara, and my N and R are almost alike. Okay, so never mind about that one. Just need to follow, of course, the the pattern in here for sentence diagram. So see, we got now the subject, the verb, and the object. But we got another problem. Take a look at this one carefully. So we got here Alvin and John. So what have you noticed? I think you have noticed that we got two subjects in here. But in our previous discussion, we had only one subject. So what are we going to do? Right? That's going to be troublesome. Alvin and John like carbonara and spaghetti. Not only that, we also got here two objects, carbonara and spaghetti. So how are we going to put this one into a diagram? And of course, we only got one verb in here. So this is what we are going to do. You need to do this. So of course, as always, we have to put, of course, straight line and this one. But it will not work anymore as like this. Okay, we are going to change it a bit, but the pattern would also be the same. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? So take a look at this one carefully. Let's erase this. This is what we are going to do. Trend, trend. See, same, right? But this time we will add a little more lines in here, or a few more lines rather. Okay, so we got here this one, and in here, what are we going to do? We will still have line here, but we will have this. Wow, look at that. I hope it's clear, right? So let's make it proper. My gosh, what kind of handwriting is this? Okay, so again, you will begin with our pattern. Okay, so like this diagram. So let's put it that way. Straight, although it's not straight. Then divide it there. And then we have to put here line, since we got here, of course, object. Okay, now Alvin and John, then carbonara and spaghetti. Okay, so you don't have to write here, but of course we have to write like in here. So let's put like here. Let's change the color of it so you could see it clearly. So like, let's change the color of this one. So Alvin here and John here. Oops. Okay, so we got John. Then we have carbonara. Let's change the color. It's not wrong, okay, when I use red here. It's just that I got three colors in here available. Carbonara. Oh no. I hope it will fit. And of course, we got spaghetti here. Is spaghetti. Spaghetti going down, spaghetti going up. Get out. Okay, so we got spaghetti here. Now, I bet you noticed that our diagram seemed incomplete. And if you think that way or think about that one, then it means you are correct. Something is missing in here. Where is the word end for Alvin and John? Where is the word end for carbonara and spaghetti? So should we put it here or here? Cannot be. So every time you got conjunctions, you have to draw. Let's make it red so that you would be able to see it. You have to draw dotted line here. It's a broken line, so you need to draw a broken line. So broken line here, broken line here. But sir, where are we going to put end? We are going to write here the word end. And here as well. So there you go. So that is the sentence diagram for subject, verb, object with two subjects and with two objects. So you don't really have to get confused. And you will notice that they are just exactly the same. Okay? It's just so happened that we put two subjects in here, so we needed, of course, another lines. Okay, so same pattern. So you have to start with our basic pattern. So the cross one, right? Okay, now let's see. This time we have only one subject. We only got one object. Okay, so Jack watches, plays, and teaches basketball. Oh my gosh. This time we have three verbs. So what are we going to do? How are we going to put this one now into a diagram? Okay, so let's see. Let's draw line here and of course line here. Then we will have line in here. So that is the diagram, right? So that's the pattern. So we'll write here, of course, excuse me, Jack. Okay, that's Jack. And then, how about here? What are we going to write here? We'll write here basketball. Okay. Now, we got three verbs here. What are we going to do? Same thing as what we did earlier. You will draw another line or other another lines. Okay. We have this. So now we are going to write the word watches here. So let's just write it here. I wanted to shorten it, but I can't for you to be able to see it clearly. We got place, place here, and of course we have teaches. Okay, so that's teaches, okay? The spelling is correct. It's just that I made it really, really small. Okay, that's an excuse. Okay, so anyways, and how about the word end? So where are we going to put now the word end? Same thing as we did in here. Okay, so we are going to draw a broken line. There's the broken line. And what are we going to do here? We are going to write here end. All right, so Jack watches, plays, and teaches basketball. So this is how we do the subject, verb, object. So whether you got two subjects or two objects, the pattern is just right here. Now, what's about, sir, if we have only one subject but we have two object, then you just have to remove the lines. So just make it only straight line here. So you don't need this pattern. Just like this. Just put Alvin here if the subject is Alvin. Same thing goes with, of course, the object. Okay? Then just draw here or here, broken line, if you have, of course, a conjunction. Okay? So whenever you have conjunction, just draw a broken line. All right, so I think it's clear. Of course, you cannot ask me question directly. You can, of course, send me messages or send me a message if you happen to get confused. Okay, let's go to the next one. There. So subject verb still, but this time we will have, of course, something. Okay, so what's that something? Okay, this is also a simple sentence. So he speaks quietly and quickly. Now, this time, we don't really talk about any adjectives, right? So we don't have object in here. We don't have complement or we don't have predicate nominative. We don't also have here mm, predicate nominative. So we will be doing something. What's happening to me? So we'll be having a diagram in here. So let's make a sentence diagram for this sentence. Okay. What am I talking about, right? Okay. So let's begin now. So we have a very big space here. So let's use it. Let's utilize that one. So we got the line, our pattern, or our beginning line. beginning line. What's that? That's crazy. Okay, so he speaks quietly. So we write here he, since he is the subject. Then speaks will go here. There we go. So he speaks. Now, you have to be careful with this one. If this one describes the subject, we will have here diagonal line. Okay? Again, excuse me. If quietly and quickly or any words written in here describe or describes the subject, we will write diagonal line. But if this one and this one or other words in here don't describe or does not describe the subject, we cannot use diagonal line. Okay? Together with, of course, he and speaks. So where are we going to put quietly and quickly? Since our words in here, quietly and quickly, pertain to the word speaks, then it simply means that we are going to put it under the verb. Since this was the one being modified, or this is the one being modified by quietly and quickly, or this is being described by the word speaks. Okay? Or this is the word being modified rather. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let's write here diagonal. So the diagonal line will go under speak. That's a diagonal line, okay? I'm not just really good at it. Okay, so we got a diagonal line here and a diagonal line in here. So we put here quietly, quickly. Okay, so he speaks quietly, quickly. But, sir, how about this? Where are we going to put now our conjunction end? Hmm. So like what we did earlier, we need to provide a dotted or a broken line. So the broken line will go here. Then write the word here. End. So